Production. Let's get it.
Hello, it's me, Dr. Butler, and welcome back to the show. Today's episode, I believe, is one so many women will be able to connect with. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. I'm talking with my friend Taniesha, who has lost over 60 pounds, and her journey did not follow the traditional path. She used GLP-1 medication without supervision. Now, we're not sharing her story to promote that choice. We're sharing it because this is what happens in real life. Women are navigating pressure, limited access, mixed messages in a healthcare system that often leaves us feeling unheard and unsupported. Her willingness to speak openly gives us a chance to explore what led this decision, what she learned along the way, and how she is now focusing on sustainable long term health. This conversation isn't about judgment. It's about understanding the layers behind real women's choices, the gaps in support that often exist, and the resilience it takes to rebuild from a place of honesty and self care. So let's get into it. Thank you for being here, Tanisha.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So before you started this journey, what were your feelings or struggling with that made you want to make a change?
I mean, if we're just gonna keep it real, I've had 5 children. I gained a bunch of weight during each of those pregnancies. I never really truly what you would call bounced back from those. I didn't have no snap back, no snatch back. I didn't have none of that. Okay. I was just a struggle bus with each and every pregnancy. I think I gained 40 to 50 pounds. I lose about 20 to 25 after. And so after my last baby, I was 38, 37 when I had her turn 38 a couple months later. And I already knew, like, I have to do something. I don't want to do this anymore.
And it gets kind of hard, the older you get and then the more babies you have, it gets hard.
And I was never a bounce back girl. I had my first baby at 24, but even at 24, it was struggle bus. It was so I can't, and I won't solely blame it, like on having children, but that was just such a big factor. And at the end of that, I had already made some pretty, I won't call them desperate decisions, but I was ready to do something different from what I had been trying all those years, essentially my entire like adult life, got married pretty young at 22 and started having kids by 24. So from that point on, it was that you're on the diet train, you're on the let's try this, oh, let's switch to this. And then you make a friend and like, let's try this together, you know. And after I had my last one, I was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I want off the hamster wheel.
Okay. What was the moment that made you say, well, I guess you just said, what, I have to do something different. So, yeah.
Well, also let me say, I've always said this to like my friends and my cousins. I'm not spending my whole life worrying about this. I'm gonna get to X age, and whatever you get is what you get. What you get, you don't throw a fit. We say in the child care world, right? So at a certain point, I was like, I don't want to be thinking about this forever. I don't want this to be. And I'm talking about, did I eat too much? Did I eat too little? Did I get in the like all the things when you're trying to be in a caloric deficit, when you're on Weight Watchers and you're counting that stuff. I mean, baby, you name it out in the little 100 calorie packs and you name it, I have tried it, right? And at a certain point, I'm like, I don't want my life to be surrounded by this.
Right.
So I don't want to keep waiting until. So I'm wearing the cute clothes while I'm chubby. I'm gonna do the things. My motto was like, do it fat. It just is what it is. So when I got to the point after I had my fifth, I knew we weren't gonna have any more. I think it was just like, okay, I don't want to be doing this forever. What are my options right now? Um, what is like, look like? Because while I was pregnant and breastfeeding, the GLP-1s are kind of coming out on the market bigger than, I know they've been researching them. Now I know through my research that they've actually been researching them for a couple of decades now. But at the time, I was strongly considering weight loss surgery. And because I felt like at that point, I don't have any more options. I have tried all the things. Um, I think we'll get into it a little bit later, but I really saw it as a moral failure that I could not lose the weight. you're not your will, your willpower is not strong enough. You can't stick to things. And so that is really what weighed heavy on me is I don't want to feel this feeling forever. I
Right.
want out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You chose a path that many women choose quietly. Can you share what made this option feel like it was the only one available at the time?
So it's funny that you used quietly. I was actually on a cruise last week and happened to just in the hot tub with someone talking, and she's like, "We have the same swimsuit on." I said, "Yeah, I'm really struggling with how to dress on your body. I've lost 60, almost 70 pounds." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, how?" And so I'm like not wanting to say what I am actually doing out loud, right? I'm like, "Well, I'm on a GLP-1, but I went through the gray market." And she's like, "Oh, me too." And I said, "And I'm actually on one that's not actually technically FDA approved yet. I'm on Retatrutide." She's like, "Oh, me too." And I felt so much relief because it is, I'm not ashamed of what I've done, but I don't want to promote it to
Right.
anybody else and, they not have the same experience as me. So I don't want to make it, I don't want to glamorize it in a way that's like, you should do this. This is the best. I don't. But I made the decision for myself because I went to the doctor and I tried. I mean, I've been to the doctor a couple of times to try to adjust my weight. And I pretty much get the same answers. Oh, don't eat carbs and cut back on, being a calorie deficit. And it's like, dude, I've tried that. And I have the only time that I've actually seen success is like starving myself or taking phentermine, which that wasn't great either. So believe me, I've tried. And so I got to the point where it was like, I went to the doctor this last time before I made this choice. And she said, "Well, I'll prescribe it, but you're probably not going to get the pre-authorization for it." I said, "Okay, well, let's try." Did get the pre-authorization. She said, "Well, you can always have weight loss surgery." I was actually floored by that answer. So you're telling me instead of taking this medicine that I can stop taking, I should go have life altering surgery that I cannot. That I've been doing the research on the surgery for years. At that point I was prepared to do it because I was tired. I was exhausted. My cousin had surgery, I think the year before, but I was still nursing my baby girl. I nursed her for 2 years. So my plan was when I'm done nursing, I'm gonna have weight loss surgery. So in that time, the GLP-1s were coming out on the market and everybody was getting on. I was like, well, maybe this is a better option because it's not as what I would consider as extreme as surgery. And so by the time I got finished nursing, I was then switching over to the idea of the GLP-1s. Could not do that the traditional route because I couldn't get approved, and even if and then it was just too expensive outside of not even getting the approval. So money.
That's pretty much the reason for a lot of stuff is, it's just money.
Money and lack of.
So, yeah, so how did the cost of medical supervision or weight loss influence your decision? I guess you know.
Yeah. So I have 5 children. I run my own business. Um, we're part of that very much middle class of people that we're making it. We get to go out to eat a couple times a week, but there is not a ton of expendable money in our budget by any means. We are that paycheck to paycheck scraping by. So me pulling $350 a month, I mean, where's this gonna come from? The cloud? It's gonna rain down? I don't know where it's coming from. It just wasn't not. It was not a reality. And so I'm a TikTok gal. I'm on the TikToks, and somehow I'm doing the research on all the companies. I do like to do research, so I'm researching all the companies. I'm pulling up websites where they compare every company because at this point you're also able to go outside of like your PCP. My PCP was a health form in this instance, so I started looking at whatever all those the weight loss companies were because now they're really promoting. But with those, it still came with $200 to $300 a month, the subscription, things like that. So my algorithm showed me another option, and I will say I sat on it for months and months because I was quite nervous about making that leap. We do have a lot of trust in the medical system. You think, okay, you went to school for this, you're the expert, I'm going to allow you to guide me because I'm not a doctor. But I really wasn't feeling the faith in the medical system for a lot of reasons, not just this particular thing. And started doing my research on the gray market, started doing my research on the medications and all the things until I was really ready to make the leap, make the decision. And I found an actual vendor. And I first went with an American vendor and then went with a out of American vendor after those first couple of times that I realized that the American vendors were using the exact same vendors, if that makes sense. And made that first order, and the rest is history. Skinny history. Skinny history at this point. Yeah.
When you look back, what do you wish you had access to? Support, information, resources. What may have changed your approach if you had this support?
Having I have done some blood work prior to, but I think when you're under the care of the physician, you probably have more access to labs more often. I mean, I guess I could have figured that, but I think that part is to see. I would joke that I was a healthy chubby girl. I didn't really have any evident issues health wise at the size that I was at before. It really just was, buying clothes was really difficult and looking at myself was really difficult. So I had a lot of self-esteem issues. Um, but I wouldn't say that I had health issues. But what I would like to have been able to get the support, medically speaking, is being able to look at my numbers and see how maybe they may have improved or changed throughout the process. Um, so maybe just support from that standpoint, being able to know what's actually going on. I know that when people are taking the doctor out, you are still working with your doctor. So it was that factor was gone. I didn't have anyone to work with. I was making those decisions alone, or I'd consult my husband or chat GPT. Chat was my doctor. So maybe just having the support from, an expert in the field would have been great. But I also got to the point where I was like, okay, sometimes we have to rescue ourselves. And that's where I was at. It's time to rescue myself.
What did you learn about your body, your habits, your mindset during this process?
This has been one of the most freeing experiences I have ever had. And it's because everything that happened before was a failure on my part. I couldn't do it. I couldn't make it happen. I couldn't stick to the diet. I couldn't work out hard enough. I mean, there were times where I was doing 2-a-days. Like I'm getting up in the morning, doing a workout, going back in the evening, and was not seeing results. And just working so hard. Or there were times where it was like I felt like I could not control what I was eating. I could not help myself. And that felt so crazy. I now know that was like the PCOS and the sugar cravings really kind of taking over. But it's a really odd place to be in, to feel like you're not in control, but you really, really want to be. And you want it so bad. And I don't think people that don't struggle with their weight can really understand how you can want something so bad but not really be doing it. It's like, but just, my mom is a person who's not struggling with her weight. So she'll say things like, just eat small portions, just eat less. Sis, I'm starving right now. I need a little more substance. I'm starving, or eat smaller meals. And you need this supplement. You're missing this. This is how many calories you need. This is what the protein should look like. This is what your macro should look like. You would think as a fat person, I don't know any of these things. I know all of these things because I have tried so hard. So for me, the freeing part was when I had the piece that actually fit and helped me. It was not hard to make good decisions. It was not hard. When the sugar cravings were not controlling me, I'm not thinking about donuts. I'm not thinking about tortillas. I'm going to say, Antonio, I'm not to taco. But you know what I'm saying? When that part was fixed, it was no problem for me to eat less and make good decisions and hit my macros and hit. So to me, it was like I was able to let go of the part where it was like you were failing. You couldn't do it. There was something that was preventing me from being successful. And when I had the proper tools to actually help me, I was quite successful. So it wasn't just about like, oh, well, just eat less. No, I was paying attention to what my protein intake was looking like. I was like, okay, you need more fiber. I'm throwing in supplements. But it was so much easier when I was not just struggling so hard to just control myself. So that has overall, it's been quite freeing. And I've been able to let go of the guilt of what I could not do before.
Mhm. So, how did your family feel about this? Was they supportive? Was they unsupportive?
My husband was very supportive. He has obviously seen me, seen the struggle, seen the things I'm trying. He's a personal trainer. He's also someone who struggled with his weight.
Mhm.
So there was some understanding from his point. He's seen me with all this pregnant. I mean, he's seen it all.
Mhm.
So he was supportive from the point of view of like, I get it, I understand. I want you to do this for yourself. My kids make fun of me because I don't eat as much anymore. So it's always like, you only gonna take 2 bites of that. But there's some benefits. We go to a restaurant, we could share a meal. Me and my daughter will split a meal very easily. I think that they understood because
Mhm.
they have also seen mom
Mhm.
go to the gym and try and say, okay, well, I'm not eating that right now, or so they see children watch,
Mhm.
and so there's more making fun of mom. My daughter's like, oh, where are your muscles now and stuff like that. But I think she understands. I think they get it. Maybe
Mhm.
not baby girl, but everybody was supportive. My mom was supportive. I've not run into anybody that has like, you shouldn't do this. I've maybe got one friend that's a little apprehensive for me, but everybody else is like, do you, ma'am?
Mhm.
So it's been nice.
Yeah. And like at the gym, when my clients come in and they tell me they're going to do a weight loss surgery or they're going to take this, they're going to take that, I'm like, cool. But since you're doing that, we need to do this. I need to make sure you're coming here to get your muscle mass.
Ooh,
Because it's
let's talk
going to
about
eat
that.
at your muscle mass.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Can we talk about it? So I was doing really well. I was well aware of that. This particular medicine that I'm on is supposed to be less severe with muscle mass loss.
Mhm.
Those last 20 pounds got me. And baby, these muscles, they gone. They gone. I don't got no calves no more. I don't got no butt. Oh my goodness. So that's actually my next goal.
Mhm.
Is to get in the gym and pick up muscle. I love lifting.
Mhm.
As big as I was more agile than one would have thought. But I love lifting. I hate cardio. I hate running. So that's actually a good thing. So I just get in there and just lift and put on some muscle. I want to no cardio.
I mean, I know you like to dance.
I do like to dance. I do like to dance. I do like to cut a rug. I do enjoy cutting a rug. But don't put me on the treadmill. Don't put me on the Stairmaster. Maybe a walk outside or ride on the bike. I do. But right now, yeah, that muscle mass, you're correct. I knew, I knew that was something I had to be on workout for. Um, I just think my life got really, really busy. I do take care of my dad who's disabled. And I, there were months that I was like, okay, I really need to start lifting. I really, I just never did. And then those last 20 pounds, I was like, oh my goodness, me, just skin and bones, that kind of thing.
What healthy habits or routines are you focusing on now for long-term health?
A couple of things. First and foremost, I recognized that my issues were metabolic,
Mhm.
and I don't know that the medicine is a short-term thing. So I really have come to terms with it's possible that I will be on this forever. Which really just sounds like, oh, really forever? But also, if the metabolic issue is still there,
Mhm.
if it's a disease, right,
Mhm.
then I have the disease. And so kind of coming to terms with that has been just an ongoing process. Um, and understanding that it is easier to make those choices. It is easier to, I mean, I have no sugar cravings.
Mhm.
So I don't have to fight my sweet tooth.
Mhm.
So it is easier to just go somewhere and get water and, pick a salad to eat and things like that. Where before it was like, I'm drooling over whatever. I don't struggle with that anymore. So those choices come a lot more naturally and a lot easier. And that's such a blessing. Because when you have struggled and when you are struggling, when you're in your head constantly going, did you eat? You shouldn't eat that. You ate too much. You took too many bites. Or I had these invisible limits for myself. Like if I'm eating pizza, I'm only allowed to have 2 pieces, even if I wanted 3 or 4. 2 is the limit because that's how much you're supposed to eat a pizza. Nobody told me that. It's just something I said to myself. 2 tacos, that's it. You don't eat more than 2 tacos. Now it's like, make sure you get enough tacos. You eat the one. So I would say it's been easier to make choices, and the things that I need to focus on is easier. So my fiber and my protein intake. I know when there have been times where it's been a struggle to eat, um, but I was committed to getting in the things that I needed. And so if I have to have a smoothie or, a protein shake to get some protein in for that day, then I'm committed to that. And so it wasn't that I didn't have the knowledge prior to. I had the knowledge. I just couldn't do it. So now it's like the things that I've been trying to do for all these years, I can actually successfully accomplish and do. And that just feels amazing. It really, really does.
How has the journey changed the way that you think about your health, your confidence, your relationship with your body?
So my prayer, wish, and hope for women is just to get to the point where we're just satisfied. Every woman that I speak to, well, if I could just tone this, and if I could just lose it, and I'm talking about women that are fine, like they look good, you know what I'm saying? But nobody's ever satisfied. So ultimately, my goal for myself is to find a space of satisfaction. We have one goal in our heads. Oh, I just want to lose this weight. I just, at first it was like, I started at, I don't mind saying where I started, where I'm at now. I started at 230. I'm 160, about 163 right now after vacation. The cruises, baby, just eat. I'm at about 163 right now. I don't necessarily desire to lose more weight. I do want to gain some muscle. So if I, gain 5 or 6 pounds of muscle, that'd be amazing. But I want to be satisfied. I don't want to do this forever. I don't want to just be thinking about it and concentrating on it. I don't mind putting in the work, but I don't want it to be as all consuming as it has been. So I think for me, I want to find the space of satisfaction. It's never going to look perfect. That belly from those 5 kids is crinkled and stretch marks, and that's okay. And so what I'm working on now is, you thought it was just about losing the weight, and you quickly find out it's not, because now I'm like, oh, but this and but that, and I don't want to do that. So the work that I'm doing right now is just to accept where I'm at. It's not going to look perfect, and that's okay. But just getting to the point where it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. Being confident in that, and teaching my daughters, because they are watching.
Yeah.
My oldest is 17, my baby is 4. So I have those eyes on me when it comes to body image. And my little one loves to squish my belly. That's like her favorite thing in the world. And it's like, oh, I don't want that belly there, but she loves it so much. You know what I mean? And it's a different perspective for me of like, this is a place of comfort and love for her. And it's a place I despise that stomach. But really, that's my pursuit right now, is just getting to the point where I'm satisfied. I'm okay. Maintaining is different. Just getting the habit of going to the gym and lifting or whatever, but not with this. But I have to tuck. I have to this. I have to. And I'm getting older, and I have to. I want to be settled, and I want to have peace in my body. I am more confident. This face is. It was always cute. I was never ugly. I won't get it twisted. I was never ugly, baby. It was never given ugly. But I will say, I look in the mirror now, I look more youthful. I'm so happy with how my actual face looks. And that has just been, I don't know, it's giving me a little pep in my, give me a little zhuzh back. It gives you a little zhuzh back to look in the mirror and be like, it's just one chin there. Okay. Okay, one chin. It's been so gratifying.
Yeah. That's what everyone needs to get, just to be confident in their body.
A little zhuzh back, you know what I mean?
So what would you tell another woman who feels stuck, overwhelmed, or financially limited when it comes to getting support?
I would say research. Some of it can be TikToky research, but there's real research out there. There's studies, there's medical journals. Do both. Listen to people that have been through it. Find that village, whether it's an online village or an in-person village, for support. I'm not saying don't have mental health. I'm saying the way that I view the medical field right now, after births and just different experiences, I don't disregard the medical field, but I don't put all my eggs in that basket like I used to. Back in the day, we would go to the doctor, you don't know anything. I don't walk into an appointment without having done some type of research, having some type of understanding of what I'm going to be talking to, especially because I advocate for someone else's, like my dad. So what I would say is do your research. Know, even when you are speaking to a professional, medical, a trainer, whatever it is, know a little something for yourself.
Mhm.
Now, that's not to say to disregard your expertise and training. Be like, well, I don't want to do that exercise. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
clients do that.
now I'm gonna do what my trainer said to do. I might not be happy about it, but I'm gonna do it. Johnny will tell you, he's like, why you don't smile, sir? I'm doing the exercise, and I'm not questioning you. So I'm not telling people to charge it to your doctor and be like, but the internet said. I'm saying educate yourself and be ready to advocate for yourself. And do not be afraid to make decisions for yourself.
Right.
Do not completely depend on um, someone else's expertise. You can take that information in, you can add it to what you know, but get educated yourself so that when you make a decision, I'm studying to be a doula, and that job entails really just preparing pregnant women for birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't just listen to what I say. This is what you should do for your birth. No, I'm going to educate you. So when it's time for you to make a decision about what you want to do, it's an educated decision. So my biggest advice is educate yourself so that when you're ready to make a decision, whether that's going great like I did because of finances, I felt stuck. I would watch people's before and afters, and I'd watch like, where is my montage moment? Where is my from, beginning to end moment? And I would just pray and desperately hope for that type of moment for myself. What is it going to take? Where is it going to come from? And I genuinely was scared that this wouldn't even work because once you've tried everything, you really feel in a place of like, nothing's going to work for me. But you see it happening for other people. And you're like, okay. So really, even this was scary to me from the perspective of, if it doesn't work, am I okay where I'm at? So I would say research, 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 educate yourself, and empower yourself to make decisions for yourself.
And that is what we are about. We are giving information so you can make informed decisions about your life, your health, your goals, your, self-confidence and stuff like that.
Yes, I think it's dangerous if I were to sit here. Everybody should go gray because they don't need to be paying. Listen, I have some family members that are on GLP-1s and they are going the traditional route because they have the funds to do that and it doesn't affect their household. I'm not going, well, you shouldn't do that, because that was a decision that they made for themselves. I'm supporting that. We talk about, our different experiences. But I think ultimately we have to empower people to not just make the decision for themselves, but educate themselves. So when they make the decision, it's a sound decision.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's all about education, learning for yourself. You know what works for your body. You know what doesn't work for your body. So, yeah. Well, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming, being open and sharing. I hope everyone got something out of it. I hope you understand research, research, research. I thank Taniesha for coming on the show and sharing her story.
Thank you for having me.
So, if this conversation was helpful to you, please like and share this video, and I will see you next week.